Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Antony Neale, obviously I'm the host of Heroic Conversations, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Nick Apostolides, voice actor, builder, motion capture guy, and just happy to be here. I'm happy that people still take an interest to chat about careers and stuff, and generally what makes us tick. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Now, obviously, I am more than elated to have you here because you play one of my favorite video game characters of all time, which is, of course, Leon Kennedy, which a lot of people know you for. I would say that's kind of like the claim to fame you've got. Obviously, you played him in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4. Um, and you did the mocap for it as well, didn't you? So you are Leon Kennedy.
What we call that is full performance capture. So that's when, yeah, you do embody the character. You're doing the body movements and the cut scenes.
Mhm.
For me, I do my own stunts whenever I can, when I'm not going to break my neck. You're doing the voice, and you're giving the facial performance. So some people don't understand the difference of that versus like when they scan your face. Those are two different things.
Okay.
When they some games they will scan your likeness and it looks just like you. They didn't do that for me for Leon. I don't think I was handsome enough, but but what they did do is they record your facial expressions to give the animators a really good reference. So for everything that you say, the way your motions work in the
Yeah,
face,
yeah.
if you're pissed off, like obviously this face, like they want to put the
It'll
face
come
model
through.
over the data on your face and kind of like marry the two, if that makes sense.
That's
So
really
yeah,
cool.
full performance capture for Leon for Resident Evil 2 remake, 4 remake, and Infinite Darkness on Netflix.
Yeah, which obviously is an amazing show. I really enjoyed that. So we'll start with the beginning. We'll start with Resident Evil 2. So obviously you are a fan of the games yourself.
Yeah, I was
Um,
a fan for 18 years before I got the opportunity to audition for Leon. 18 years prior, so I knew everything about the franchise.
I think that's brilliant because you can bring kind of your own kind of predetermined character of Leon. Because Leon's very much, everyone describes him as including characters in the game as very much a Boy Scout. He is this in Resident Evil 2, I think he's more of a Boy Scout. He's very innocent in a sense.
Oh yeah.
And he goes to Raccoon City, he goes to the police department, obviously he meets up with Claire. Um, how much kind of mocap full performance capture did you do with each of the characters, or was it very much singular or
Uh, this is a good mixed bag, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I'm trying to think back. That was, geez, we started that 9 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I had plenty of scenes and interactions with Ada,
yeah.
with Claire, and a couple monsters and baddies. As you're about to fight them, of course. So yeah, general mix. Sometimes you're alone, but working with talented actors is always those are my favorite times because you never know what they're gonna bounce off of you or bring to the table. Whereas when you're acting in a scene alone, it's all on you, and you're telling the story singularly until your data gets thrown into the game and then Capcom takes over. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love working with good people in the cast of 2 and 4. Oh, they were just memorable people. I love them to death, all of them, and we just had a good time. There's good chemistry on both those projects.
Yeah, and obviously that's important on sets of films and TV as well as games. Having a good chemistry really drives kind of the way the game feels as well. Because I think with what the remakes bring to the table, in a sense, would be the authenticity. Like the characters feel very real, and obviously that's technology with obviously the scanning and the way that the movements are as well. But obviously the performance is a big part of it. There's no kind of wooden acting. And I think that's the same in all the remakes, all the Resident Evil games. You've always got this authenticity of this could be a real situation. Obviously, very dramatic and full of BOWs and things like this, but you have this performance that makes you believe what's going on.
Well, that's very much the direction of games nowadays. There are so many different genres, of course. Some are more whimsical and fun than others, but when you're looking at like when they're going for like photorealistic graphics,
Mm.
it's usually the direction that games have taken now is like more grounded, realistic performances. Now, 20 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. The writing is getting better, more
Hmm.
realistic because it's about immersion, and the developers really want whoever's playing those games, they want them to live inside them for, you know, 20, 60, 100 hours. I don't
Yeah,
know. Some games like Red Dead 2 or something, they want you to be there for like 1,000 hours and just
yeah,
lose yourself. That's, it's a form of entertainment, it's escapism, whatever you call it. For me, it's a little bit of both. And so, yeah, they just want. I remember the direction of Resident Evil 2. Brilliant guy. I bring him up every single interview. Tom Keegan is one of my favorite directors. And he did the cinematic directing, and he would always say like, "Yeah, guys, yes, we're in a zombie apocalypse, fictional place, yes, and some really horrific stuff is happening." But
yeah.
he would say, "How would you play the scene? Like if this was really happening, how would you react? What would you
Oh,
say here?" So we had liberties with the script, and usually a good project does, and they don't force you to say exactly what's on the page. Things go through changes when you're filming. Some things don't work. Some things need a little bit more emphasis or whatever. And yeah, I would just say that keeping it flexible, keeping it real, that's what puts the player in that seat. And
yeah,
you feel responsible for everything that happens, whether you die, you save the person, or whatever it is, you feel responsible. And then I think when that happens, the developers have done their job.
yeah. And yeah, I can, now that you've said that, I do have to ask, there's one moment in Resident Evil 2 that feels really like authentic and a human reaction to a situation. And that's when Leon first goes into the sewers and then like the crocodile monster comes and chases him. And his blatant reaction is just, oh shit.
Holy shit!
Now, was that written or was that how you kind of would react in that situation?
No, often Tom would say in the that was voiceover, that wasn't full motion capture
Yeah.
because it wasn't technically a cutscene, it was somewhere in the middle. Anyways, yeah, he would often ask me, he's like, if there was a 30-foot giant alligator about to eat your face off, you turn and run, what would you say? And I was like, I would probably say, holy shit! And it's like, okay, it's real. Put it in there. That's usually what happens. And stuff like that. All those swear words, and I'll tell you, like, even go further than that. So it was so effective that the first time I ever played that game,
Yeah,
things jump at you and stuff when you're controlling. And
of
like,
course,
even though
yeah.
I was a lead actor, that doesn't mean that we know everything the developer's going to do. Like, I didn't know every zombie that was going to pop around the corner or fall in. It's like so many things surprised me when I was playing the game, which is a nice gift. And oftentimes I would say something, and then Leon in the game would say the exact same thing, and my brother would laugh. Like, I would run out of ammo, and I'd be like, "Oh fuck!" And then Leon would be like, "Fuck you." I was like, "Wow, okay, that's authentic because it's me,
Yeah, that,
Neale,
that is
human."
that is as authentic as it gets. I love that. I was going to ask as well, when you played the game, how does it feel like playing a character that you've performed as? How is that?
Um, Honestly, if I wasn't as big of a fan of the games that I am,
Mm,
I think it would affect me more.
yeah,
I would be, okay, the game's cool and everything. Oh yeah, I'm surprised they chose that line or whatever, or I didn't like
yeah,
my performance, or hey, I did pretty good there. I didn't really care because when I'm playing the games, I'm in the game. Like what I mean is like I'm in the experience. I'm
yeah.
surviving, and
You're
the
immersed in
only
it.
thing I'm thinking about is, oh my god, there's probably a boss fight right over there, and I don't have enough ammo. That's all I'm thinking about is like the mission,
Yeah,
you know, and finding the key for that damn door because there's probably a cool gun in there. That's my thought process. So
yeah. You can immerse yourself because you're a fan of the franchise. And I think
yes,
that's important. And when you mentioned about looking for a key, I remember there was a moment when I was playing it and I had to find the cogs for the clock tower. And all I remember hearing is Mr. X's footsteps coming. And I went, oh, this is it. I have to go outside. He's going to be outside the door.
yeah, the tension is so good in those games that it really takes you out of it.
Yeah.
It takes you out of any criticism. Um, if it was like a fun and whimsical puzzle game, I might have more time or bandwidth to be like, oh, I hated my performance in that scene. I wish I could have done that over. Like, but that's not what I'm thinking about. You know,
Yeah.
the game did its job, and that's why I was so immersed.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. It's lovely to hear that from somebody who was in it. Now, Resident Evil 4 obviously kind of is a bit of a different genre in a sense because it jumps from more survival horror to action horror, I'd say. Because obviously you still have the survival element, you still have all the herbs, you have the first aid sprays in this, but it's more of like an action feel to it. Because obviously Leon's a bit more mature, he's gone through a lot more, obviously, like with that spin-off game that they did with Dark Side Chronicles, which is brilliant. Um he's more of evolved in a sense. So when you came to doing Resident Evil 4, first of all, was it kind of like a did you do have to re-audition for Leon, or was it like, okay, no, we've got our Leon? And then how was it doing the more action side of it? Because you did say that you doing stunts and things, you kind of like taking that to yourself.
Yes. I'll put it this way: when I was doing two, I felt held back
Mm,
um, from what I was used to on camera. Now, I come from an action background myself, action movies, even short films or whatever, or low budget indie films, all action stuff. I was doing my own stunts. That's what I was used to.
yeah.
Couldn't really do a lot of that in two. He was still a rookie and everything, so I had to dial it back a bit. And then in four, all they did was say, "All right, we're gonna turn up the dial a couple clicks," and I was like, "Say no more. Let's
Yeah.
do it." A very natural transition for me.
Awesome. Well, that's nice to hear that you had that kind of in you already. So when it came to four and you had that kind of different direction, with the stunts, with like jumping out the windows and the suplexes and all these kind of things and the kick and stuff, how much of that was you and how much of that was the stunt team?
Anything that was done in game. So again, if it's some cutscenes, yes, have some of that stuff, and I'm not going to take credit.
Yeah,
I can't do backflips. I'm not a martial artist, and I don't have a lot of flexibility. So no, I can't do a roundhouse kick. Doing a suplex, I would imagine that was fully animated, so I
right.
don't even think it's on camera for that. I mean, maybe they did in Japan. They do a lot of that stuff in Japan. The
Mm,
locomotion is what we call it. All the movements, the crouching and the moving, the running, and all that stuff is done elsewhere. But I did a lot of the physicality, like the hanging, the climbing, the falling, the jumping, stuff like that. Certain fighting scenes, I'm really good with firearms and like
mm.
military type stuff. So I get hired a lot to do those types of stunts. Um, there's. Are you familiar with the game? You know all the scenes and scenarios.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love the
Okay,
games.
there. Like for instance, as an example, the scene where in the castle a giant cage falls down on Leon.
Yeah,
He's trapped in there with a couple people. He's got to fight. Ashley she runs or whatever it is. So there's a little action scene there. I did that fully. So it's like all the gun stuff, the ducking, the tumbling, the grabbing of the knife, come around, stabbing the guy, coming around. Like I can do all that stuff very easily.
that's so cool.
So it's a mix, and then a stunt guy, a very talented person, will come in, do some of the crazy stuff, backflips and whatnot, and then we just mash it together, and it becomes a cohesive performance.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant that there's so many elements and people that come together to bring video game characters to life. When it comes to the Resident Evil games where you play as Leon, have you got any favorite lines at all? Because obviously one that comes to my mind is obviously the classic one from Res 4, which is obviously where's everyone go? Bingo.
Bingo.
Which I've probably butchered him, but
Yeah, my favorite from the original four, and
yeah,
then in my game because I also got to say it was when he says "Hasta luego." He kicks that red oil drum at
yeah,
Kendos and blows him up. I just always liked that moment because it reminded me of Terminator 2. Um, and so I don't know. I always like that one. That's my favorite.
yeah. And it's a cracking line, and it feels very action filmy. It feels like that
Oh,
classic, like you said, Terminator.
four was very much an action film.
Yeah. Now, obviously, on four, there's a few more scenes where you kind of interact with a few more people because of what, obviously, with Resident Evil 2, it was a few characters, whereas I feel like four's got a few more characters involved in it. Now, when it came to like the knife fight with Krauser, with that knife fight, was that choreographed, or when it obviously the gameplay elements, I'm presuming, were very much animated and things like this, but the cutscenes, how much of that? Because you said about working with the knives in the cage, did you do anything with Mike Kovac when it came to Krauser?
No, they handed that off to two professional knife fighters,
Mm,
and I believe they filmed that in Japan. I mean, look, could I have learned that choreo? Yeah, I could have done something like that.
mm,
Um, Knife fighting is very similar to boxing, the stance and the form and everything. I could have pulled it off. It wouldn't have looked as good as two pros, and
yeah,
so I was happy to hand that off, and they made it look really good.
awesome. Now I have to ask when it comes to Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4, because we'll move on to speak about a bit about Infinite Darkness. Do you have one that you prefer to go to? Because obviously, like we said, you are a fan, you like playing them. Which one do you kind of feel like yourself going back to?
I love four. I love the combat, the action in four. I love shooting games,
Mm,
and two was way more of like a survival story. Yes, of course, some action, some tough boss fights.
yeah.
Admittedly, I haven't revisited that game in about maybe four about 4 solid years.
Mm.
Um, that's been a long time. But four, I feel like I could turn that game on any minute of any day, play some mercenaries or whatever. I just like the combat. I like the parrying. I like the melees and everything, all the guns. So I'd say that one is a bit more fun for me.
Was a bit more fun. Now you brought up Mercenaries, so I will just quickly ask: in Mercenaries, do you find yourself playing as Leon more, or is there more of like a favorite character? Because I really struggled with Leon when I played Mercenaries, and I don't know why.
No, I've played I've mastered with everybody.
Mm,
I've gotten an S plus plus rank in every single level with every character, and that's in total 32 S plus pluses, and it took me 3 weeks. I would
that
say
is
one of the
amazing.
hardest ones to get was probably Luis
Mm,
because he's just got the weakest main weapon. His handgun is slow fire rate, slow rate reload. Um, he's tough. He
yeah.
doesn't have a lot. His special's great, but I would say he was the hardest for me.
Mm.
But I love mercenaries. It's a rush. And have you broke 1,000,000 points in those levels?
You know what? I'm gonna have to go and check. But what I do love is the fact that I ended up with the RPD costume to use in Resident Evil 4 is like the
Okay,
unluck. So I think I've hit S plus, I think.
yes, that's correct. You've
Yeah.
hit. I don't know what that is, like 750,000 points
Mm.
per level or something. But yeah, S plus plus rank is 1,000,000 points.
That is amazing. Like fair play.
You gotta do it's gotta be flawless.
Yeah.
Your run, and that's why it takes so long.
And if I haven't now, I'm gonna have to go back and make sure I get that because that is amazing. A million points is amazing. The hardest map for me was like the shipyard one with all the containers because I felt like
Well,
that one was
it's
quite
hardest in the way
claustrophobic.
that they throw everything at you. There's not a lot of places to run. You can't escape much. But I think that's the easiest one to get a high score
Yeah.
because at towards the end they throw everything at you, and as long as you have the firepower, you're gonna get a giant score.
Well, yeah. Then it's the fact they all cluster up as well, so you can kind of get them on that bridge, and you can just blow them all up at once, and you get that combo. But no, I think it's amazing the fact that you've got S plus plus. I was determined to get it because I wanted the RPD uniform, and then once I got it, I didn't really use it because the classic like leather jacket that goes to like the tight top and the classic look just kind of trumps it in a sense because it feels right in the game.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. How was that? Because obviously that is like more an animated film. Like it's obviously in parts, but you've got this. Was that more full performance throughout the whole thing? Because obviously it is just an animated production.
It was fully animated. It was a little different in the. It differed from video games in my experience with them.
Mm.
The way that it was structured, we filmed most of it pretty much chronologically because the thing is, we could and we had to film that. We shot that in 10 days in Japan. We
Wow.
went Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday, 10 shooting days, the whole project. Um, it's a little different because we were given a script. In
Mm.
video games, you're not often given a script like you read a play or a movie. You get like dailies, right? You have a general arc of a game, and any given day it'll be like, all right, we're doing scene 4, 7, and 96, and it's like you jump around for obvious reasons. and you don't have a you don't have a view of like an entire context of the entire
Mm.
project necessarily on games. That's my experience, anyways. With Infinite Darkness, I could read the beginning, middle, end. I could see my just like a movie. I prepped just like a movie.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, different experience, but same process. Wearing the whole suit, the cam. I did a lot of stunts in Japan. I did a lot of my physicality for that project. Super fun.
yeah,
They let me do it. It was so different than filming two remake in LA. They didn't want me to do almost any of my stunts because they said, "Well, God forbid, you twist your ankle, then we're out a lead actor."
yeah.
And in Japan, they were like, "You can do that stunt." I was like, "Yeah." Like, all right, let him do it. So it was fun for me. We did it safe. I didn't get injured, but
Yeah.
but they had a really badass stunt team as well. And I was watching them do their stuff, and I'm like, I was humbled by what they do.
Because the stunts in that show that they are amazing. They are very because
Yeah.
obviously this is past four as well. This is like very like he's got more skills. He's learned more. So
Yeah.
he has got a bit more about him, but obviously because he's a bit older. I wanted to say more mature, but I'm gonna go with older. Obviously he is older in this. He kind of you can see the experience in the performance, which I think is brilliant. And to know it's you as well, obviously with like the stunts thing, that's really fun. Now, did you watch that? Because is that different to playing a game or
I'll consume anything that Resident Evil puts out, the IP,
yeah.
because I'm a fan. Like I said, I'll watch the CG movies. I'll even watch the live action movies. I'm holding out hope that one day they become good. They're not bad movies, and I know some fans really dig them.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of like groups of these fans where like some fans love them both, like one better than the other, or some of the movie fans they've never played the games, or vice versa. It's like a little bit of everything. I'm in
Yeah.
that boat. Like I'll always watch the live actions. Um, they're they're not my favorites. I think the CGs are better than them, and I
Yeah.
think the games are better than everything.
Yeah.
Um, that's just me. Um, so did I watch Infinite Darkness? Of course I did. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Now, obviously, being a consumer of the Resident Evil franchise, enjoying the games, enjoying the films, enjoying the CG films as well, I do have to ask, if Resident Evil 6 ever kind of came about and they did a remake of Resident Evil 6, would that be something that you'd want to do?
I mean, I would hope that they would defer to Matthew Mercer.
Mm.
Matthew Mercer portrayed him in Six, the
Yeah.
original. Did a fantastic job, 2013, I believe. I would hope that they ask him first, and if for some reason they don't, or they go in a different direction, or they simply do want to continue, like my version of Leon in this timeline, like I understand that as well for continuity. Who knows? I mean, if they ask me, would I be honored? Yeah. Would it be fun? Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen, but always want to, respect the previous actors.
And I love that because that is nice to hear that even though you love this and you love the character, that when there is somebody there who would most likely be jump into it the chance as well, because Leon's a great character to play. I like the fact that you've got that, you know, have him first kind of thing. I love that because I really enjoyed six. A lot of the fan base are a bit divided on six, but I thought it was really enjoyable having these different chapters with different kind of feels to them. So obviously, Leon's was very much more the survival horror aspect, whereas Ada's story was very much like this espionage kind of aspect. And obviously, the others, you've got like the army kind of one. I can't remember the name, completely just lost my mind, but it's Albert Wesker's son. That's what I know. I can't remember his name. Jake, that's it. Yeah. Jake, that's very much army. And obviously, yeah, you get Chris as well. And I just think the way that they make those stories happen and the way that they're like somebody's gone on, and I've seen people make like an order for exactly chronologically how which scenario to play first and things like that. So I enjoyed doing it like that, as well as playing them in there as
Well,
containments.
I've always said that I respect Six. I appreciate it. It was a big undertaking, impressive intertwining of basically four
Mm,
entire, like almost four games.
yeah.
It's almost four games in one, and that's impressive to me. Is it my favorite? No, but when people come to me a lot at conventions, they say like, "Oh, I actually like I love Six. I started with Six, and then I fell in love with the franchise." Um, I understand why. It's like, oh, it was such a big game.
Yeah,
It's not. It's I don't think it's like the fan favorite, but it's impressive.
yeah, and it's enjoyable, which I think is the main thing when it comes to games, is that individual enjoyment from it. I enjoyed it because I got to have the experience of playing it with somebody, and I thought that was really fun
Oh,
because you
same.
had, yeah.
I've never once played a co-op. I mean, there are only a few co-ops really,
Mm,
but I've never once played one of them without somebody, and most of that somebody is my little brother. So
I love that.
I have gone through all these games. We have beaten five together, probably 20 times. We've beaten six together twice, all the way through every campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. It's a fun experience to have with somebody.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you've kept it, you played 5 and 6. I did the same with my best friend. I streamed the other ones to him, so he watched me play those, and then we played 5 and 6 together. And it's a special kind of thing because it brings that classic kind of co-op element in games that it seems more scarce these days. And it's, unless you look for like more like the indie ones. Um, Now, I do want to ask, to kind of wrap this up, there is one last question, and that's if you're excited for obviously Resident Evil 9, which has been announced.
Of course, like I said, I've been a fan for since 1998. I've played all but one game. You mentioned Dark Side Chronicles. That's
Mm,
actually probably like that. And there was a game that came out with the reticle Survivor, maybe Resident Evil Survivor.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
arcade shooter.
yeah.
Like,
The same kind of Dark Side Chronicles follows like the lightning shooting. Yeah.
okay. So actually, it's only those two I haven't played. So my point is, yes, every time a Resident Evil comes out, of course, I get so excited to play. And I have a tradition with my younger brother that every time a new one releases, we've had this tradition since 2005, that we play together. So the cool thing about Requiem is that it comes out, funny enough, 2 days before my birthday.
Ah,
And so I'm taking off some time. I'm going to fly to Boston. He's going to take off some time from work, and we're going to binge that game for probably 3 days or 4 days, whatever, and beat the thing. And I'm very much excited for it.
that's
Yeah.
brilliant. I love that. What a nice little birthday thing to do. You get, and it maybe he'll buy you it for your birthday.
Uh, maybe I should. Yeah, I'm going to hint that to him.
It'd be like, hey, you could get it, drop it yours, and I'll come over and boom, it's ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, Nick, it's been amazing speaking to you about a character that I have such love for, and I'm excited to see where the series goes. I'm really excited for Requiem. I love the fact it jumps from first person to third person. I like the mystery behind the story because we don't know anything really besides obviously the character and the fact that we might be going back to Raccoon City. That's what we know. That's what I've seen. So it's
That's
exciting.
pretty cool though,
I'm
because
very excited.
on modern current gen systems,
Mm.
the graphics just look so freaking good. So, like the idea of a photorealistic, like nearly photorealistic Resident Evil, like the more real you can make it, excites me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're going to have a new BOW. There's going to be a new evil, and I can't wait to face that because they're so creative with their designs. I love the way that they just explode into some kind of fleshy creation. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I think the world is waiting to see that.
Yeah. But yes, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.